Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Gitsky. Well, people in Paso Robles are on edge as a manhunt continues. The man accused of shooting a sheriff's deputy in the city is still on the run. Anika Abbott reports.
They're requesting you come in blacked out. They are taking fire from north of the DMV.
Sheriff's deputies were called to Paso Robles just after 3 Wednesday morning after a man opened fire on the police station.
This morning we had an unprovoked attack on local law enforcement and, in my opinion, an act of a coward.
As 2 deputies searched the area, one was shot in the face in an ambush attack.
The wounded deputy was flown to a trauma center out of the county for his advanced medical treatment. He's in serious but stable condition.
During the search for the suspect, police found the body of a man in his 50s at the Paso Robles train station.
And we determined that what appears to be possibly a transient from the area that had been camping out overnight was likely shot at close range to the back of the head, one shot.
The sheriff's department says they believe the 2 incidents are related. The suspect is still at large.
Witnesses have described the suspect in this case as a Hispanic male adult, about 5 feet 8 inches tall, 150 to 160 pounds, with dark curly hair and a beard.
Sheriff Ian Parkinson says the shooter's motivation could be tied to the nation's debate over police enforcement right now.
And that's kind of been the general theme floating around the nation right now, this rise up anti-law enforcement coalition, it seems.
Both investigations are continuing.
He's now identified as 26-year-old Mason James Lira. Police say one sheriff's deputy was shot in the face in what they called an ambush attack. Lira is considered armed and dangerous. Police have also linked him to the death of a 58-year-old man who was shot in the head near a train station in the city. But police say that 26-year-old was spotted at a Chevron gas station in Paso Robles around 2 a.m. this morning. The store clerk recognized him, saying he was sweaty, exhausted, and mumbling to himself, but he did not do anything threatening. Now, the clerk called 911 as soon as he left the store. Police arrived to that scene quickly, but he was gone. 2 helicopters are being used in the search. The Highway 101 off-ramp was closed for a time but has since reopened. Now, police are urging the public to avoid that area. Well, Sheriff Donnie Youngblood held a virtual forum to discuss law enforcement and the African-American community. But at times, things got a little testy. 17's Amber Freese listened in to that 90-minute meeting and has the details.
The sheriff agreed change needs to happen.
We've been here before. Many times. We have to go forward.
But not in a way some of the panelists proposed.
It's going to take a lot of different things to settle our community right now. But I think a citizens review board would be one of them.
I am not for a citizens review board.
Sheriff Donnie Youngblood said the department is already, quote, straightforward with the community. He added that in the 14 years he's been sheriff, he's fired or allowed to resign 100 people for misconduct, assuring the panelists he doesn't permit bad behavior. Youngblood added there was no need for him to repent for bad behavior because he said he didn't know of any.
If I repented to you, I'd resign right afterwards because I would be admitting that I've been doing something horribly wrong.
Something that didn't sit well with some of the panelists.
If you don't own up to what you've done, how can you move forward as a community?
Arlena Waller, moderator of today's meeting, then switched the focus of the meeting to officer diversity.
What are your practices for diversifying the officers that you're hiring?
You know, I can tell you that 40 plus % is Hispanic and about 2.7% is African American.
Sheriff Youngblood shared the department has a hard time hiring African Americans.
Partly our fault, partly the community's fault, because some of you teach your children that cops are bad, don't you? So they wouldn't want to be one.
A response that also didn't sit well with the panelists.
You know, that relationship and staying it comes from you. It comes from the sheriff. It comes from the Bakersfield police. That fear when, black boys see the cops or see the sheriff, that fear doesn't come from us parents.
The meeting ended with Sheriff Youngblood asking the panelists for help in educating the young people in his department.
I need people like you throughout our community to come in address the academies, address the officers when you have the opportunity to tell them how you feel, because how you feel is extremely important.
Now, one of the agreements made at the meeting was that the department was going to look into bringing together an advisory committee. From Southwest Bakersfield, Amber Frias, 17 News.
Now, changes could be coming to the Kern County Sheriff's Office. Yesterday, KCSO announced they will suspend all use of the carotid restraint. It's a hold that pinches off the artery in the side of the neck. Now, KCSO says it's one policy that is currently under review as the department takes a closer look at how deputies use force. Now over to the latest on the coronavirus. More than 2 million cases of the coronavirus have been reported in the U.S. As of today, more than 115,000 people have died. New York, New Jersey, California, and Massachusetts are among the states hit hardest by the virus. As numerous states have reopened for business, experts warn that the pandemic isn't over and that many people remain vulnerable to the disease. Now, Public Health confirmed 76 new cases in Kern County. That brings the total to 3,026 here locally. Now, 2,029 have recovered from COVID-19. 51 people have died from the virus. Currently, 873 are recovering at home. 63 are in the hospital. So far, over 32,000 tests have come back negative, and over 700 tests are still pending. In your 17 Health Watch, biotech company Moderna says it will soon begin the final testing stage of its coronavirus vaccine. Now, the phase 3 trial is scheduled to begin next month and will include 30,000 volunteers. Some will be given a 100 microgram dose of the vaccine, while others will receive a placebo. The company says it is on track to supply 500 million to 1 billion doses of that vaccine per year. Now to a deadly crash near Keene that sparked a brush fire early this morning. Now, according to CHP, the crash happened just after 4 a.m. on Highway 58 near Bena Road. CHP says the car was traveling on the 58 when off the road, overturned and burned. The agency says the car's front wheel was flat and driving on a rim, kicking up sparks. Now, a small brush fire broke out, but it has been extinguished. Only one person was inside the car. Now, it's unknown what caused them to crash. CHP says none of the traffic was affected in the area. Well, we now know the man who was pulled from a vehicle that was found submerged in a canal in South Bakersfield. Police and emergency crews were called to the canal off South 8th Street between Panama Lane and Berkshire Road on June 7th. 40-year-old Alfred Juan Gomez was found in the vehicle, but it's not known when that collision occurred or what caused the vehicle to go off the road, crashing through a fence and into the canal. Now, it's still not clear why Gomez swerved and crashed, but officers say they are currently investigating the accident. Well, guns, drugs, and cash all found after deputies discovered a large pot grown in Northwest Bakersfield. KCSO says they discovered the operation after responding to a call on Gilmore Avenue. The department says cannabis was being grown illegally inside an industrial building. Along with drugs, KCSO says they found several guns at the site, including 2 AR-15s that violate state law. Over $8,000 in cash was also found. KCSO arrested 31-year-old John Blackwell on a slew of gun and drug charges. He's also facing a charge for allegedly draining chemicals from the lab into the sewer system. Well, more heartbreak for a Bakersfield family nearly 2 decades after a bizarre fishing accident killed the Tibbs family patriarch. A new double tragedy has struck. 17's Robert Price has the story.
Last week, a shooting on Kentucky Street in southeast Bakersfield took the life of 49-year-old Jerry Tibbs Jr. If that name sounds familiar, it might be because he is the son of Jerry Tibbs Sr., who came to local prominence for his Southwest Bakersfield restaurant, Mr. Tibbs Ribs. The elder Jerry Tibbs died in 2003. He and 3 friends were fishing about 8 miles off the Central Coast when a gray whale breached the surface and slammed into Tibbs' fishing boat, the BBQ. Tibbs fell overboard, and his body was recovered the next day by the Coast Guard. Now, tragedy has struck the Tibbs family for a 3rd time, and the 2nd time in a week. Family members say LaTanya Tibbs, Jerry Jr.'s sister, was the person struck by gunfire Tuesday afternoon at MLK Park in East Bakersfield. She was hospitalized with moderate to major injuries. Bakersfield police say the assailant fired 10 to 20 shots into the park from a car, but they could not provide further details, citing the ongoing investigation. Information on LaTanya Tibbs' condition was not available Wednesday, but earlier in the day, via Facebook, family members were urging her to pull through. Meanwhile, there was an arrest in the death of Jerry Tibbs Jr. Officers arrested 33-year-old William Blowhart Lee Friday night. Police say he was in possession of a 9mm handgun believed to have been used in the killing of Jerry Tibbs Jr. Lee was arrested for murder, possession of stolen property, and gun charges. Neither BPD nor the district attorney's office were able to say if there's a possible connection between the shootings of sister and brother. If you have details on either of these cases, call BPD at 327-7111. In Bakersfield, Robert Price, 17 News.
In your 17 Court Watch, the man accused in the Bakersfield 3 case will be arraigned on his new murder charges this afternoon. Matthew Queen is the ex-boyfriend of Bailey Despot. Now, she went missing in 2018, a month after the disappearance of Michael Holzenbeek and just weeks after the shooting of James Kolstad. Last month, investigators accused Queen of torturing and murdering Holzenbeek with Bailey Despot's help. While Despot is still missing, the DA said she's charged because there's no definite proof that she's dead. Queen is due in court for his new charges at 3 today. Before he was accused of killing Holzenbeek, Queen already faced charges for illegal weapons and kidnapping.
Nicole, overnight we're at 69 degrees, so slightly above the normal of 63. Normally our high should be 90. Our record of 109 set back in 1979. And tonight your sunset will be at 8:12. Skies remain clear for the most part. A few high clouds into northern California, but that's it for our Thursday here. Temperatures are going to be warm. 87 in Sacramento, Fresno, right near 103. 71 in Morro Bay, 89 in Los Angeles, 80 in San Diego. To the east of us, 99 in Vegas, and Phoenix hot at 108. The beaches a little cooler. Going to start to see that coastal breeze. Will be in the 70s today, topping down at 72. A north-northwest wind right around 5 to 10 miles per hour. The ridge of high pressure is going to weaken here. That's going to allow for this trough to move on in. It's going to bring rain into the Pacific Northwest. No rain for us, very little cloud cover, but we will get the cold air with it. And so for the weekend, we will see that cool down before we warm back up early next week. So today, it is going to be hot. So avoid direct sunlight and take frequent breaks if you can. Make sure you're staying hydrated out there. Drink water and those that contain the electrolytes, and then limit any strenuous outdoor activities as much as you possibly can to kind of beat the triple digits. Now, in the national weather, take a look at the numbers. Seattle looking great today. 62, 78 in Denver, Omaha 88, Chicago 81. Up in the Northeast, they were in the 90s, now in the lower 80s for Boston, New York, near 90 in D.C. today. And then down into Florida, Miami, a beautiful day, and 85. Here at home, air quality will be moderate with an AQI at 97. We'll call for 103 in Bakersfield and Arvin, 101 in Delano, 100 in Taft, 102 in Buttonwillow for the mountains in the Kern River Valley, 83 in Frazier Park, 89 in Tehachapi with 90s into the Kern River Valley, Lake Isabel 96, Kernville 94, south wind 10 to 15, and then for the desert, 94 in Mojave, Ridgecrest at 101. Your extended forecast tomorrow 91 and then 81 on Saturday, 80s hang on till Sunday, and then back into those 90s Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. For the mountains, a big cool down from 89 today, mid-60s on Saturday, 80s returning for the beginning part of next week, and then for the Kern River Valley tomorrow 85, 74 for your Saturday, and then back into those lower 90s by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. That's Look Your Forecast. Back over to you.
Thanks, Kevin, for that. I know we're all looking forward to a slight cool down here. Well, another earthquake struck near Ridgecrest yesterday evening. Did you feel it? According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the quake was a magnitude 3.6. Now, it struck at 9:14 last night, 14 miles north of Ridgecrest. Now, there were no immediate reports of any damage. Now, last night, Bakersfield City Council took on a number of hot-button issues, including reform for the BPD. 17's Eitan Wallace covered the meeting and has a recap.
Yeah, much of the meeting focused on how to bring economic development to the city of Bakersfield, including to underserved communities, many of which are disproportionately made up of people of color.
Public hearing.
Another topic addressed at the meeting, the proposed $628.2 million budget for the coming fiscal year. Of that, the city plans to spend just over $120 million on the police department, coming out to roughly 19% of the total budget. While police reform was not on the agenda Wednesday night, some of the public comment portion of the meeting was dedicated to that very topic.
It is time to try something new.
I am here in support of at least partially defunding the BPD and allocating that money into education, mostly with a focus in disadvantaged neighborhoods, and other funds going to mental health, drug rehabilitation, public transportation, and daycare. Our current system is unsustainable, it is ineffective, and it has resulted in the unjust killings of countless Black and brown lives.
Toward the end of the meeting, 2nd Ward City Councilman Andre Gonzalez made the following referrals on police reform. First, he's asking city staff to create a document that tells the public how BPD policies and practices have changed over the last 3.5 years. Second, he's requesting that the city manager and police chief review the 8 can't wait policy recommendations presented nationwide. Third, Gonzalez is calling for city staff to develop an action plan to present to the council within the next 30 days. Fourth, he wants the city manager and police chief to create a 6-month-long task force made up of community members to review policy recommendations from the community. And fifth, he wants the Safe Neighborhoods Committee to initiate a violence prevention strategy.
Clearly, we can't put on the shoulders of the Bakersfield Police Department to create a safe and vibrant community. That it's much more than that. It requires investment, and so I'd like us to look at a more proactive strategy to really create safe and vibrant neighborhoods.
Now, the proposed budget will not officially be up for a vote until June 24th. Meantime, council members, including Jackie Sullivan, said in the wake of last week's protest, they want to listen and, to quote Sullivan, to do better and be better. In Bakersfield, Eitan Wallace, 17 News.
California's ban on affirmative action programs could be voted out. California has not allowed government agencies or public agencies to consider race in hiring or college admissions since 1996. Now, that's when over 55% of voters approved an amendment to the state constitution to ban preferential treatment based on race. But yesterday, the state assembly approved a proposal to repeal the ban. If the state Senate also votes in favor of the proposal by June 25th, you can expect to see it on the November ballot. Well, this evening, local activists are planning a Bakersfield unity rally focused on racial equality and denouncing police brutality. The rally's focus is to bring unity to the community with a peace rally with a call to action. Now, this will be an intimate setting indoors. The event will feature BPD, elected officials, clergymen, community leaders, congregations, and citizens will also be there. Now, they welcome everyone to come out and hear from the leaders and community voices. They say this is a call to action.
Well, our message tonight is if you see something, say something. We believe that your silence is acceptance. And so this is the opportunity to listen, to show empathy towards others that are different, and to really look at ourselves and examine what we want to do to make a difference and a change in our own community.
The rally starts at 6 tonight at St. Peter Restoration Community Christian Ministries at 510 East Brundage Lane.